So here we are, and from our vantage point here on Mother Earth, as we look out into the sky, the backdrop, when we look towards the sun, has shifted into hexagram gateway number 7. And in human design terms, this is kind of a changing of a season. In the northern hemisphere, we're definitely in the summer season. In the south hemisphere, very much in the winter season. But here we are at a junction point in human design. Now you can see the wheel, our human design wheel, and we have these yellow spokes in the wheel. And every time we hit one of these spokes, the bottom trigram of the hexagram changes. And so the following 8 hexagrams all have that same trigram at the bottom. And it's considered. Here we are, we're going into the pagan festival of Lugnasad. I'm sure I didn't say that right, but it is the kind of celebration points, the harvest time. It's celebrating the beginning of the harvest. That is the origin of the festival. And all kinds of festivals and interactions, get-togethers can happen in that. At the same time, the bottom trigram in the hexagram has moved into Khan, which is the symbol for water. It's the symbol for danger. It's a symbol for be on the lookout, be aware. What is it that's really vital and important for you in this lifetime? And essentially, we might say celebration is a very, very important feature here. What is happening in the movement into the 7th hexagram here is we're moving out of this quarter of the wheel that we call civilization, where we've had all the gates of the throat, where we've been communicating, where we've laid out plans and considerations for going forward. And now we've gone into this quarter called duality. And so here we are as individuals, right, living in a duality that is within a universe. And so this quarter of duality is very much checking, what are we doing here? You know, what is there a balance between male and female and day and night and light and dark and all these different things? You know, where are we in all of this? Is there just one thing going on? So it's very much a quarter of the wheel where we're exploring what it is to be human, what it's all about, living in a duality, and also very much checking into our health and well-being a little bit later on in the next months. So this is a image of this 8 series of hexagrams, and you'll see the bottom trigram in each one is broken, solid, broken, the symbol for water, calm, danger. And we're going to make this progression through these particular gateways now just to see what it is that's going on. What is this part of the wheel? What is this part of our life all about, this season of our life? Before we do that, I'd like to take us to the self center. That's the diamond center in the middle of the chart. What we also call the G center, G as in the shape of the Fibonacci sequence, which is this progressive sequence that connects us into perfect geometry and everything in this universe. It's our source of connection. So that diamond center in the middle of the chart connects us into the whole universe, everything going on everywhere. And if we look in the top left-hand corner, we'll make out gateway number 7 there. And that's the gateway we're moving into in this time with the sun in the 7. And you'll notice the hexagram there, the bottom trigram is solid, broken, solid, broken. And then the top is broken, broken, broken. So receptivity on danger, on Khan. And so what happens, I colored these 8 gateways here, which represent all the spokes of the wheel, right? And each one changes a season in some way or other. So the 7th gateway, if we expand it and look at the whole human design chart here, we'll see, if you can look really closely, the 7 is there in the top left-hand corner of the diamond center in the middle of the chart. And we look around the chart to see where are the other hexagrams that have this trigram Khan at the bottom of them. And we see right away the 59-6 between the sacral center and the emotional center. That whole area there is part of this little portion of the wheel. The 29 in the top corner of that sacral center is there. We look in the willpower center, the number 40 gateway in the lower right-hand corner of the little triangle center, the willpower center is also in this part of the wheel. And then we look right up at the top of the chart, the mind center, 6447, and also the gateway number 4 up in the mind center and the 64 in the crown center there. So these are the gateways that are all in this area of life, in this area of discovery, going to duality and checking out what is this duality all about for us. Can we find our place in this, in the balancing of everything? So the sun has moved on into gateway number 7, and we have the personal life theme of what we call the Sphinx, right? The Sphinx, this extraordinary carving, this statue in Egypt, what is now Egypt, and it stands there. And it's been, nobody knows what it does. And it's just been sitting there facing towards the Syrian star system for as long as anyone can remember, and further back. And so how old is this Sphinx? People say it's a lot older than the pyramids, for example. And you ask a geologist about the Sphinx, and you look at the erosion, and you consider it sometimes, yes, now it's in a desert, but other times it's been in a rainforest, other times it's been under torrential rains. And the erosion shows that actually it's very ancient, like we're talking hundreds of thousands of years old. So, I'm no expert in this stuff, but it's just, to me, fascinating that it's been aimed at the Syrian star system forever. And there's definitely a message for us there. Where do we come from? What are we doing here on planet Earth? It gives us some clues. So people that have this particular life theme of the Sphinx, they'll know. They're always here as a kind of beacon for other people. They're always able to kind of point the way for other people, to show other scenarios, other possibilities, to kind of hold the course. And so the Sphinx is very, very particular in terms of receiving our guidance. As I say, it's in the self-center. All 4 gateways here are in the self-center. And, they're all what we might describe as directional gates. It's just here, the 7 is the gate we call uniformity. And uniformity, getting people on the same page together. So right at the outset of duality here, we're getting together to see, okay, let's get in lockstep here. Let's get moving towards things that are future oriented. 7 is in the logic circuitry, which is always future oriented. And let's aim ourselves. Let's get it together. Let's move consistently together in this way. So the 7th gateway is quite instructional in a way. And we'll see as we go through the various different life themes involved with the 7th gate, it's always holding a future orientation for us, trying to get us to see, all right, we've gone through all the civilization, we've gone through explaining what we're about, we've considered many things at depth. And now let's launch into this duality, but at the same time, find the uniformity in duality. So it's a very, very particular life theme. It means a changing of the season. Like I say, it's a marking point in the pagan festival for celebration of the harvest in the northern hemisphere, celebration of the other things in the southern hemisphere, but to recognize, moving into a different season in a way. So then we move on. The sun goes on into the 4th line of the 7th hexagram, and at the same time, the unconscious goes into the 1st line. So we have what we call a fixed life theme. It's the fixed life theme of interaction. So the 7 is on one side here. This is the uniformity. 13 is on the other side, the gate of the listener, right? Listening into whatever it is that life has to offer to us. Listening to each other, interacting, talking, connecting, right? So we could see in the personal life theme, this is very much the case. The Sphinx is very much about listening. What are the stories? What's going on here in our lives? How are we interrelating? And now the fixed life theme with the 4th line is always about interconnecting. It's all about we are all in this together. Can we see that? And can this fixed life theme of interactions point that out to everybody? So the 7 with the 4th line is all about recognizing who's with me and who's not. Who can see what I'm pointing towards and who not? The 13 with the 4th line is the line that I call the whisperer, right? The whisperer who basically picks up on things without anyone saying anything, right? So it has a natural ability to communicate, or at least to recognize what it is that's trying to be imparted in the world. At the same time, the unconscious soul has moved on into gateway number 23, and the unconscious earth into gateway number 43. So those of you who are familiar with human design, we know with this life theme, we got a channel, the 2343, unconscious, with the first line. And the voice, because we're talking the 23 here, the voice of the 23 is I know. It's not I think, it's not I believe, it's I know. So what can happen with this particular life theme is it's very direct in putting out things, but it has to work out very quickly who's with me, who's not, who gets what I'm pointing towards. So it can very easily draw people together and aim them, give them something to look forward to in the future. But it's very quick to drop people that aren't necessarily, you're not really on my page here, you're not connecting with me, and you're not able to hear what it is I'm trying to put forward. So there's a bit of a balance for somebody with this life theme is, yeah, they're holding a very particular direction, but they have to be allowing themselves to drop people that don't go along with them. Having said that, they're brilliant at getting people to come together, but the moment they've done that, they tend to move on into other circumstances, other relationships, other interactions. So finally, the sun goes on to the fifth and sixth lines of the seventh gateway, and the 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3 profiles. And here again, the earth in the 13, and the 13 is this listener. By the time you get to fifth and sixth lines with the listener, it's very much about being able to put people back in orbit in their lives. They have this knack of realigning people in their lives. People that have been perhaps knocked out of orbit, people that really don't know where they are. There's some shock has happened to them. They're not very clear how to get back into their life again. They're kind of beside themselves. And the 7 with the fifth and sixth line have these genius ways of being able to handle massive obstacles. You know, the uniformity, how to get people together, how to fulfill the campaign. So they're not necessarily here to sort out menial things. They're very much looking at a larger picture of how to resort things. And so here we have the interpersonal life theme of what I call charades. It has also been called masks. So you'll necessarily find people with this life theme, they have an edge of brilliance, right? Brilliance that they don't necessarily want to show everybody how they do their thing. They have communication. They're always innovative with this expression through the 4323. But sometimes they have to see, again, people are not going to understand what I'm saying necessarily. So I have to play a game for them. I have to put on a mask. I have to kind of hide behind whatever it is wants to come through me. So people with this particular life theme, Steve Wozniak, the founder of Apple, along with Steve Jobs, absolute genius, but always kind of holding back behind the scenes a little bit, doing his own thing. Melanie Griffith, the extraordinary actress, again, she has a certain kind of magic about her. You never quite know what's going to come through her next. And also Antonio Banderas, again, an extraordinary actor who somehow just conceals his brilliance until you actually look deeper and get to see it for yourself. So this interpersonal life theme of charades, you'll see it's always a kind of mask in a sense. It's a way of hiding or playing a game with people, but it's very future oriented. It's very much taking people into another experience of life and going very, very deeply in that regard. People with a personal life theme that I didn't talk about, the Sphinx, Alexander Fleming, the inventor of the polio vaccine, Whitney Houston, just the most extraordinary performer, the Sphinx, just held her own space, held her own way, took us all with her in that journey. Wind beneath the wings. Dustin Hoffman, again, quite extraordinary in holding to a particular character in life and be able to play it out to the max. And also tennis star Roger Federer, very particular. This is how I'm going. This is how it works through me. So these are a few of the people that have these particular life themes with the sun in the seventh gateway. All of the life themes are in the Book of Destinies that Carol and I put together, all 192 life themes. Yours is in there. We each have one for our lifetime. And then these are all part of the trilogy of human design books that we've produced over the years. So this is for your indulgence. We hope you find something very amazing in these books and find out more and more about how your life works and how the world works around us all. So there we are.